Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK, and today we've got another interesting topic, and we'll be talking about sourcing with sourcing expert Sebastian, who runs a company, Zignify Global. So we'll be talking about cutting cost and how to improve margin and things like that. So welcome to our podcast, Sebastian.
Thank you, Prabhat. It's so nice to see you again. It's been a few times we've been in touch, and it's lovely to see how over the years it happens again and again. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's dive into the topic. We were talking just before we started recording. Profit margin is an important part for any business, obviously. So let's talk about how the top sellers slash cost and boost the margin on that. So, I'll let you introduce the topic and we can take it from there.
I'm great. Again, Sebastian Herz, my name. We have a few companies. Two of them we're also brand sellers. We also have own brands. We're also selling on Amazon, selling in e-com, but in Germany also selling in the big box retail or in the high street stores, I think how you call them in the UK. And but the biggest thing that we have is we're a sourcing company. We are finding manufacturers worldwide, not only in China, but literally worldwide, and compare the prices and reduce the purchasing cost. And by now, we soon should hit like $1 billion in savings for our clients. So far, far, far above $500 million by now. And we do see this, of course. I mean, it's always important to find new products or find manufacturers for new product ideas to consistently grow your product portfolio. But at the same time, there's a phrase, and it is true that the real money is made in purchasing, whether it's in stocks, whether it's in anything else. If you can secure a good deal for your products, and a better one than you had before, then you will make more money without selling an additional unit more. And this is how we came to this topic, because we see anybody who has a little bit established is looking into cutting costs, of course, but keeping the same or better quality.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I think when somebody established, you leave the supply chain sometimes in automated mode, I guess. So it things out gets automated, you place an order, same supplier, quality is good. Why do I want to change it, right?
Mm.
So that is a normal thing that I would think. So if somebody's in that position, what would you say?
I would consider like the simplest or small achievement of, let's say, 10% savings. If I tell you, Prabhat, it's like 10% savings interesting to you? That all depends, of course, on how much you're spending. If you're spending $1,000 a year, is like probably not. If you're spending 1 million per year, 100,000, having that is a very nice vacation or a part of a house or a whatsoever. A lot, tons and tons of more products, and 10% is very often very, very achievable. Quite often it's 20, 30, or 40% even
Yeah,
achievable. Record
yeah,
for us is
yeah,
96.5%. And then it's just a question, Prabhat, how much are you spending? And is
absolutely.
20% interesting, or is it not even worth waking up for?
I think 10%, it's sometimes it's relational. So
Yeah.
I saw one signboard somewhere in a coffee shop. I can't remember where, but in a coffee shop there was a notice saying, "Can you pay by cash as much as possible? Because by by paying by cash, you will save one employee's 1 hour's wage," sort of thing. So it may not be a big thing for somebody else, but it could be a big thing for a particular seller. So 5%, 10%, I think at the end of the day, it's a savings, right?
Yeah.
They
And I
can
mean,
use
how
that.
often they repeat, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And generally, it's over the long period of time. So
Yeah.
definitely, it's an interesting side of things there. So how do you start the process? Let's coming to the same topic. I'm
Mm.
doing quite well. Supply chain is all sorted. How do I go about trying to find ways to save in that supply chain?
Well, I would first of all think of like, what are the biggest spenders that you have? So, which products do cost you the most? COGS, cost of goods sold.
Hmm.
How much do your products cost? And I would not necessarily put this in a relation to the revenue they generate. Because just knowing it's like, okay, it's 20% cost of the product versus or out of revenue,
Yeah.
that's a good fact. If you have like a factor of five, fine. But what if you can get it to a factor of eight,
Hmm.
right? So if you're looking and you know that 20% of your products have 80% of the cost, well,
Yeah.
then let's look at them first and see, okay, what if just only 10%, and believe me, this is like anytime possible, I guess, unless you know 100% of the market and you've negotiated with everybody, then I would look in, it's like, okay, 10% here or 20% there. that'd be $20,000 savings a month or a year.
Mhm.
Let's have a look at that because that would be worth an hour of work or a couple of hours of work, right?
Yeah, so I think, are you now suggesting that we change the supplier?
Both ways are possible. For once, you can, of course, change your supplier, but this is what a lot of people forget is not necessarily you have to. Because if you take your current supplier and you say, look, Prabhat, I like to work with you. You do a good quality, you deliver the products to me, I'm happy you're keeping this on time, but Prabhat, look, I've researched the market and we have looked into 30 potential producers. Not everyone gave a quotation, not everybody could do it, but Prabhat, I have like seven who are so much cheaper than what you are, and I've tested the quality and it's good.
Mhm.
I wanna continue working with you. I'm happy to pay you a bit more, but Prabhat, your prices are way off the charts. Forget
Mhm.
it. Either we find a way, or again, I like you a lot, but at the same time, I need to look after our finance as well. If we can't find a way how to work together, then I need to go to somebody else.
Yeah,
So the end result can be, Prabhat, you will decide later if you still deliver to me, if you let me push your prices down, if you're my main supplier at the moment, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
this is how we, of course, go about this. So the secret is just by, well, get more quotations of valid
yes,
quotations of quality products, because
yeah,
then you have the solid, like the self-confidence. I'm standing here and I have the longer lever of negotiation.
yeah,
Because again, it is in the end about money, right? We will still stay friends, but Prabhat, with this guy, I saved $30,000 a year.
yeah,
And that's $30,000. You gotta understand it.
yeah. No, it's a valid point. Valid point. So how long do you think the process of we are not talking about new product, right? So we're talking about
Hmm.
somebody who's exists. So how long normally it takes, generally, I would say, to find a new supply with yourself?
I mean, not a supplier. We don't look for one. We usually
Hmm.
target to find about 30 potential producers. And it
Hmm.
doesn't matter if it's a new product or an existing product. It's usually taken about a month, like 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 weeks, to
Yeah.
do the research, to find all of them. And the problem is, it's not you. Now, that if you would be our customer or you, the brand owner, it's usually
Mhm.
also not us. But it's the suppliers who are, high and mighty on their horses and whatever. Maybe don't answer, and it's like, oh, another request. Like, what are you, small potatoes? I'm not going to give you a quotation. It's like, really? This
Yeah.
guy is bringing whatever, like 20,000 units ordered per month or per year. Do me the favor, let's look into this and say, do you want to give a quotation? We're asking a few in the market, and this guy is
Mhm.
solid. He has built businesses before, and he is selling 150,000 units of all products together.
Yeah.
And now he's coming with a complementary of an existing product. So it's not just big talk and one of the beginner Amazon dreamers who say, I'm going to take over the world. No, he's solid. He has done this for many years. So it just simply takes the time until those suppliers are A, to be found, but that usually goes quite quickly. But B and C and D to answer, and answer to the change of, not the change of requests, but in China, I usually say you ask 7 questions and you get one answer. In
Okay.
Europe, you ask 7 times to get one answer.
Well, that's true.
Spoiled. We
That's
are
true.
spoiled. And we are Europeans and we don't need like every order we think. But there are other companies who are still hungry who answer faster. But
Okay.
give it a month, 1.5 months, and you will have a solid research.
Yeah. No, excellent. So, and then let's talk about quality side of things. It's
Important.
it's very important, of course, because especially if there is products can have a harmful effect in the health or
Right,
safety and things like that.
right.
So we've got to be serious about it, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to take that responsibility when we try and source rather than putting blames on somebody else, sort of thing. So
Even by law. Yes, you have to.
well, yeah, obviously, yeah. So yeah, but that's why there is a law in place to do all
Right.
these safety side of things. So um obviously all the suppliers follow that sort of law
No,
and regulations. Okay,
that'd be
now there
nice.
you go. I'll let you talk more on that rather than me trying to ask something which I don't know.
I know, I mean, it's just very simple. Like, for example, if you say and you want to sell in Europe and you get a European supplier, that's why I did not mean any disrespect or so.
Yeah,
But you think they should know and they should be in place and have everything.
yeah,
Even with our own suppliers in the beginning, we have seen he's 40 years in the cosmetics industry and is producing for 40 years. And I've asked him, hey, I need a product safety data sheet. And he was like, what? It's like, you're 40 years in the industry. We need a product safety or product data safety sheet.
Yeah.
At least it was a German translation. I don't know if I translated correctly right
Mm,
now into English.
yeah.
Um, and you think they should, and they should, but there's so many things like every one of us founders or entrepreneurs, you never do all the things 100% correct because our European laws, I'm sorry to say, I mean, it's just ridiculous how difficult they are. But yes, they should know. Yet on the other hand, it's a simple thing. I mean, that's things we also take care of course. Find out about the compliance. Do they have the compliance? Check the compliance. And if they give you any of the compliance sheets and any of the test sheets, well, guess what? Adobe Photoshop can do a lot. So check if they're valid. Check if they're still valid, if they're real, if they have just been photoshopped.
Yeah.
Yes, companies should, but to be open, to be honest, there's hardly anybody. Even if you go into big box retail, I'll walk around there with you. I'll show you so many products which are even just on the packaging system, on the packaging definitions, they're just not compliant for
Okay.
several different things. But those are the things you need to know, of course, when you're producing. Can be done, easy compliance research. You just got to make sure that this then also works, the suppliers have it, and if not, then you go to the accredited laboratories, to the test institutes, and you get the certificates. Yes, cost money, but better to be on a safe side than being sued.
Yeah. So is the safety check you can do in China, or do you bring the product into Europe and you do it here?
Worldwide, I hear Signify global product sourcing.
Yeah.
We have in China a team of 15, 16, 18 employees or so, for sure, by a single country, still the largest country. But we
Yeah.
do worldwide global product sourcing. We're 55 or so, roughly around in the team at the moment, and they're spread all over the world, locally, speak in 20 different languages for all the research, but also to go into the factories and do the quality control inside the factories. So yes,
Okay.
we're not searching right now in sanction countries, obviously,
Mm.
but the rest is yeah. You don't need to have any. We earlier talked about your son knowing about 190 countries of the world, right? Where I was like, holy smokes, I could not name all of them. Where we have 194, 196 or so, but you don't need everybody in every country because
Yeah.
not every country is like the biggest producer already for production. But in all the countries and all the areas of the world where more and more production happens, of course, our team is located.
Okay, fair enough. So let's bring our focus back to margin and profit and all that sort
Yeah.
of thing. So we obviously you've talked about supply chain and sorting that out and checking that. Is there any other ways of trying to boost that margin for the existing supplier?
If
As
there's
in,
any way to
sorry,
boost, to improve
let
the
me
margin, of
let
course.
me reiterate. Sorry, is there any way to boost the margin for the existing business
Yeah.
from their existing supply chain? Any other ways of doing that?
The biggest word that I hate, or the biggest answer that I hate, is it depends. But
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course, I mean, if you, Prabhat, if you know 100% of the market, if you know 100% of the suppliers, if you've talked to 100% of the suppliers, or even 80 or 90, and you've negotiated with all of them, to be honest, what can we still do? We don't have a magic wand, we don't have a glass ball, and we don't have an AK-47, which we wouldn't use in order to drive the prices down. But if you say, hey, I know maybe like two, three, four, five, six, seven, 10 producers, but I didn't really negotiate and search the market yet, well, guess what? Very likely there are a lot more companies out there producing a product or potentially producing it, and there are a lot more of them, for example, who may also be in the beginning but still well set up, who are hungry for also taking smaller orders. It's not like all of them are the largest companies who produce, say, bicycle helmets for the top four companies in the world, and they don't even talk to you at a trade show if you don't have the potential to bring 250,000 units per year. So they will start, looking at you. No, there are many, many smaller ones, of course, worldwide. And I mean, look, we have 8 billion people. There's a lot of companies out there, and there's a lot of producers, and every product, everybody says like, "Oh, my product is so niche." Yes, every product is niche. It would be
yeah.
bad if what's the British one? Is it niche or niche?
Niche, niche.
Niche,
Yeah,
niche.
yeah,
Okay, um, because that's like the confusing always between American and British to me. I myself am just German. Um, but then you can. It would be bad if none of the products would be niche or niche, because then you all would be a commodity, and you all would have just a price race down to the bottom.
yeah.
So that's why you will have still so many producers also for niche or niche products. And they're out there somewhere. And If they're made from plastic, well, guess what? You can produce a lot of products from plastic or from textile or from metal or from wood or from raw materials or food supplements. That's the base what you need to look for. What is your product made from? And then there will be a lot of companies who can make a product based on mostly the raw material. So yes, just start looking around. If you don't know the market, that's why the money is made in purchasing, not only in sales. Just look for more quotations.
Yeah, yeah, well said, well said. Right, okay. Thank you, Sebastian, for your time today. Before we end the postcard, I think it will be good for you to, tell audience where is the best place to find you if they want to book a call and talk to you and find out a bit more.
That's an open door. Thank you so much for that. To give you a pitch. Well, look, I mean, Zignify.net, I think, is the best address. It's Zignify .net, and there you can book a call or you drop a sourcing request and you'll get in touch with one of our lovely ladies. By the way, almost the whole company is just female. Better purchasers, better negotiation, friendlier to clients, friendlier to suppliers, and more detailed. Yeah, and I think that's the easiest. Or you'll probably for sure find us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on anywhere, right? Facebook even.
Yeah.
But best place I hope is the webpage, and I hope we give a lot of comments, blogs, teachings, coachings, courses even for free on there, how you can do also sourcing all on your own and how to get better.
Okay, excellent. Again, thank you again for your time today, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.
Thank you.